And welcome, sports fans, to today's Roundtable. Glad you joined us. A little later start today. A lot to prep for this morning and ready to go for some high school basketball. It's an exciting time of the year. We finally wrapped up pretty much all of the conference tournaments in the area, including the Tri-County Conference last night. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But some big games this week, earlier in the week, even to last night on Friday night. And some big conference games as we're starting to wrap up the conference season, even the regular season for those regular season titles to wrap up. And district tournaments right around the corner. We are 1 week away from getting underway with district high school basketball tournaments for the smaller schools. Classes 1 through 3 starting next weekend, and then classes 4 and 5 follow the next week. So very exciting time in the area in high school basketball. A lot of good teams a lot of teams in the area looking really good going into the district tournaments, and it'll be even more exciting once we get to those district tournaments, into those championship contests. So a very exciting part of the year here in February, and it'll be truly March Madness here really soon, and we'll have our own version of our madness here over the next few weeks. So a lot to get to today. We've got new state rankings out. We've got local results we're going to get to, as well as the district tournament brackets for classes 1 through 3 in our area. Those were released just a few days ago, so we're going to go through those for the boys and girls district tournaments over the next few weeks here in districts 1 through 3 in southeast Missouri. And we got quite a bit of highlights as well for the broadcasts that we've done this week. So quite a bit to get to for today. So let's get right into it. Let's first start off with the games that we had last night in the area. First with a game that we brought to you live here on YHC last night. Kennett and Dexter, a rematch of the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament Championship, where Kennett avenges that loss to Dexter from that tournament with a come-from-behind victory last night, 60-59. Coming down all the way to the very last few possessions. Very exciting game in Kennett last night. You'll definitely want to watch that if you missed it last night here on YHC. And let's go ahead and take a look at those highlights from last night. And here we go. First off, Andrew Ellinghouse knocking down a 3 to get the Bearcats started on the right wing. And here we see a nice little baseline jumper there for Maddox. And nice little put in there for the Indians at the rim. Nice drive and dish off. Garrett Henson with the finish for the Bearcats. Here swung over to the right side. Three-pointer up and good. But at this point in the game, it was Bearcats getting out to a nice lead. The three-point shots falling for Dexter early on. And we see here Jackson Hempfling going to step into a 3 to knock that down. Here at the end of the first quarter, Dylan Seitz knocks down a three-pointer to end the first quarter. Here we see Andrew Ellinghouse getting a basket and the foul. And here into the second quarter, three-pointer up on the right side. Good here. Dylan Seitz stepping into another three-pointer. As I said, Dexter shooting the ball very well from the outside. Here we see Peyton Driscoll getting a nice scoop and score. And Ellinghouse with a nice drive off the right side. And here another three-pointer, Jackson Allen knocking it down here into the third quarter in the second half. Lead for the Bearcats. Nice put-in bucket and the foul. And we see here Marsavian Harrell getting a nice drive and finish in the transition. Nice look down and a score for Ellinghouse off the great assist. And we see here Kobe Gates knocking down that 3 at the top of the key. And here a 6-point lead halfway through the third quarter. Nice drive to the basket. Driscoll with the finish. And Harrell stepping into a 3 on the right baseline, knocking that one down. And a 5-point lead here towards the end of the third. 3-point shot up and good for Ellinghouse. Harrell answers back with a 3 of his own. So really starting to get tight here towards the fourth quarter. But, Dexter even makes a nice run here. Right here to go up 12 points a couple minutes into the fourth quarter. So a 12-point deficit for the Kennett Indians to work out of. And a nice save here. Pulliam with a nice save. Harrell with the finish. And there's a nice tough basket underneath for Hempfling. And this is where the Indians make their run. Kobe Gates with a 3-point shot cuts it down to 2. And we see here a charge drawn by Garrett Henson. It looked like that might have been sealed the game for the Bearcats, but a big 3-point shot. Ben McMullen puts them up 1 point, And the last shot actually went for the Bearcats, but it was just a few seconds late, or not a few seconds, it was like about a half a second late to get that shot off. And again, we'll show the last few sequence there. It's kind of in a hurry. It was about 45 seconds where Pulliam had a great alley to the basket, committed the charge against Garrett Henson, and that was a 2-point lead. And then we didn't show it in a replay, but after that, it was around 40 seconds left. Dexter had the ball full court press by Kennett, and got the turnover, and got the ball back. And McMullen hit that three in the corner to put them up one, and it was 9 seconds to go at that point. And then Dexter came down, tried to get an open look, and they got an open look on the right side. It was Ryder Bowles putting it up, but it was just about a half a second late. The buzzer went off. It did bank in, but it was just a bit late, and Kennett secured the victory. And just show you those last few moments again. As here, Kobe Gates cuts it to 2 with just over a minute left. And here, Pullum gets a nice alley to the basket and commits the charge. Kennett's still down 2, but here's where McMullen hits the 3 in the corner with about 9 seconds to go. Kennett up 1, and here's the last second shot, just a bit late for Kennett getting that victory last night. So quite a game there in Kennett last night. If you missed that, go back and watch it here on YHC. We'll have it replaying over the weekend, and you can go to our website, yhctv.com, and our Facebook and YouTube pages. You can check that game out. And a great come-from-behind victory by Kennett. They trailed 5 going into the fourth quarter, but Dexter made a nice run over the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, pushed it out to 12, and with about probably 5 minutes to go, Kennett had to work back from a 12-point deficit, come back and win that game in regulation. So a fine effort by Kennett. Kennett really struggled through most of that game. Dexter got out to a great start, hitting some outside shots from the perimeter, and Kennett had to fight back, scrap back to get into that game, and eventually win it in the end. So a great finish by the Kennett Indians and a great game. Be sure to watch that replay here on YHC if you didn't get to catch that live last night. And take a look at some other games last night. Bernie with a nice victory over Malden, 53-29. No problem for the Bernie Mules last night. And also we've got Advance over Leopold, 75-65. Cape Central over Sykeston, 72-60. Big win for Cape Central over Sykeston. CMO Conference victory for Cape Central. That was up at Cape last night. So, Cape looking really strong here at the end of the year. Notre Dame over Poplar Bluff, 75-50. Notre Dame continues their winning ways in the conference. We'll talk more about the Bulldogs in the CMO Conference coming up. Jackson over New Madrid County Central, another CMO Conference matchup where Jackson gets the win in overtime, 54-51, and a nice victory for Jackson. Jackson struggled a little bit this year in the CMO Conference, and that's a nice victory for Jackson over New Madrid last night up in Jackson. Kelly over East Prairie, 72-52. Kelly putting a nice season together, coming off their Scott, Mississippi Conference Championship last week, getting a nice win over East Prairie. Also, we have Gideon over Risco. We brought that on a webcast only last night on YHCTV.com, and apologize having some trouble with that last night. Had some connection problems, some fans messing with the connection there in the bleachers last night, so apologize for that. But we did show pretty much all the third quarter, fourth quarter uninterrupted last night, and Gideon got the championship, Tri-County Conference Championship regular season and tournament championships in the Tri-County Conference. Gideon putting together a fine season. We'll talk more in depth about that, but Sam Williams coming up big last night, 24 points on the night for the Gideon Bulldogs. He led the way to that championship win, 63-58. Tight game all the way to the end. Risco won by 1 in the regular season, Gideon won by only 1 point in the regular season. Went down to the wire, and some free throws put it away for the Bulldogs with a 5-point victory. So congratulations to Gideon, one of the hottest teams in the area, especially among the smaller schools. And we'll talk more about those Bulldogs coming up. Also, Charleston over Portageville, 92-46. Richland over Puxico, 53-51. Stoddard County matchup there. Bloomfield over Richland, another Stoddard County matchup, 60-50. Advance over Delta. This goes back to Thursday night, and a high-scoring affair there. Advance gets the win over Delta, 108-105. Also, Clearwater over Doniphan, 63-50. And moving to the girls basketball results from the last few nights: Neelyville over Doniphan, 63-47. That's the Ozark Foothills Conference Championship game from last night. Neelyville coming away with that Ozark Foothills Conference Tournament Championship once again. Neelyville Lady Tigers have made a great run going back a few years back, state championship run, and they've stayed consistent. Certainly one of the top teams in the area once again this year. Bloomfield over Oak Ridge, 41-31. Scott City over Campbell, 59-58, a close one. Dexter over Cape Central in a game that we brought live to you Thursday night from the Bearcat Event Center in Dexter. Dexter getting a come-from-behind victory over Cape Central, 53-49, 28 fourth-quarter points for Dexter from that come-from-behind victory in the second half, 53-49 victory for the Lady Bearcats, and we'll show some highlights from that one Thursday night. Let's cue those up real quick. And here we go from the Bearcat Event Center Thursday night. Horton, freshman for the Cape Central Tigers, getting them started with a baseline jumper. And here, nice move. Asbury getting a nice shot in the paint for the Lady Bearcats. And in the SEMO Conference game here the other night, Cape Central coming in with a record of 14-7, putting together a fine year there at Cape Central. Certainly for them, that's not a typically real strong program, but coming up with a nice year this year, coming in at 14-7. Dexter struggling year at 33-18. So Dexter really putting together a fine effort tonight, certainly, or that Thursday night, certainly into the second half and the fourth quarter. But here approaching halftime here, Dexter really attacking the paint, getting some nice buckets around the paint. And here hustle play for Cape Central, getting the loose ball, turning into a layup here. And we see Horton knocking down a three-point shot on the right side. Three-point shot for the Lady Bearcats on the right side into the second half. Nice ball movement from the Lady Tigers, getting a nice basket. And three-pointer on the left side. It goes and into the, here starting to head into the fourth quarter here. You see Cape Central up 12 heading into the fourth quarter. Alexa Wernick, nice jumper up top there. Nice dump down. Getting a nice bucket underneath for the Lady Bearcats. And high post score here for the Lady Tigers. And getting halfway through the quarter, Dexter starting to make their run here. Nice three-point shot by Asbury on the left side. And nice inbound play here for the Lady Bearcats. Cutting it down to 6 now with just over 4 minutes to play. But a nice bucket and the foul as Alexa Wernick now driving, gets a nice basket in the paint. And we see here Dexter starting to cut into the deficit. 5 now, down to 3. Bucket and the foul there. And it's a 2-point game with under 3 to play. Tied it up with that basket at 45. Now a 1-point deficit. Dexter takes the lead with a minute to play. And here we see a nice little runner with 47 seconds to go. And they push out for the victory there Thursday night. And a great performance by the Lady Bearcats and that come from behind victory over Cape Central. So there you go. Dexter getting a nice win, their 4th win of the year, and a big conference win over the 14-7, now 14-8 Cape Central Lady Tigers. And in other girls games, Jackson over Festus, 65-28. New Madrid County Central over Kelly, 76-59. Saxon Lutheran over Kennett, 70-42. Poplar Bluff over Oran, 56-37. Sykeston over Blytheville, Arkansas, 62-43. Malden over Advance, 56-42. Naylor over Twin Rivers, 56-24. Zenith Hornersville over South Pemiscot in the Boot Hill Conference, 61-40. And those are your games from the last few nights in boys and girls basketball. Now to watch the replays of the games that we brought to you here on YHC last night, that Gideon Risco game that we only webcast. We only webcast that last night from Clarkton. You can watch that on a replay basis today at 12:30. Actually, it's going to get pushed back to probably 12:45 to 1 o'clock. So probably closer to 1 o'clock once we get that going here on YHC. And we'll actually webcast that as well. If you want to watch that, coming up at around 12, or actually about 1 o'clock. Gideon and Risco, the replay of that Tri-County Conference Championship from last night, Friday night, where Gideon got that championship victory. And also the Dexter-Kennett game, you can watch that at 2 o'clock. It's actually probably going to be closer to about 2:30 at this point here on Saturday, but also at 8:30 Saturday night, and then we'll also have that Sunday afternoon, probably with a probably around a 4:30 start there on Sunday afternoon. But you can watch it online. Go to our website at yhctv.com, Facebook and YouTube pages. You can watch it on an on-demand basis there online on our online platforms, Dexter and Kennett. And we're going to take our first break, come back with some headlines from the last few nights in this week in high school basketball. Also, we're going to touch on the East Prairie and Campbell highlights from Tuesday night down in Campbell. We were down there for that one as well. We'll come back with that, and we'll be back with that coming up next.
It's time for the President's Day event at Harry Blackwell Dodge in Dexter. There's not just 1 or 2 trucks on sale over here. We're putting them all on sale. Like this 2019 Ram 1500 Limited Crew Cab, we're knocking over $14,000 off. Or check out this bargain, a 2019 Jeep Renegade for just $17,900. Remember, at Harry Blackwell Dodge, on top of the lowest price around, you're still going to get legendary small town service from people who care. You're not just another number, you're family. Harry Blackwell Dodge in Dexter.
These are some of the greatest young inventors and entrepreneurs in U.S. history. Could you be next? Do you want to win $10,000? If you are currently enrolled in a school in Southeast Missouri and between 7th and 12th grade, you can have your chance. Visit www.brightideacontest.com for contest rules and details.
Hi, I'm Barry Aycock. You can have a bright idea, be from a small school, or live in a small town. Invent something that the whole world uses. We look forward to seeing your bright idea.
We want to spark entrepreneurial spirit in the youth of Southeast Missouri. If you have a business idea or invention, visit www.brightideacontest.com. Entries must be submitted by March 1st. Good luck!
And welcome back. Now let's take a look at some headlines from this week, especially in high school basketball. First, starting off with Gideon winning the Tri-County Conference Tournament Championship last night in Clarkton. We brought that on a webcast last night on our website at yhctv.com, and a big win for Gideon, and they are on a tear here, going back to all the way to the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament. They've won 15 straight going back to that Christmas tournament. They lost in the first round of that tournament as the 10 seed, but since then they won the remaining 3 games of their tournament to win the consolation championship in the Christmas tournament Bloomfield. And since that, 12 games on top of the 3 games from Bloomfield, 15 straight wins for the Gideon Bulldogs, and they've been on a tear and win the Tri-County Conference regular season and tournament championships, undefeated in the regular season, and winning the tournament championship against Risco. Risco trying to win 4 straight Tri-County Conference Tournament Championships. Come up a bit short last night in a great game down to the end, and Gideon claims that title for 2019-2020. So got to give credit to Coach McGowan down there, Jordan McGowan. He's done a great job. I think it's his 2nd, maybe 3rd season. I think it might be his 3rd season down there, Gideon now, and done a great job, and got a great class. It's been a young class over the last few years. Now to upperclassmen, and I've got some great efforts out of that club here in the last certainly 15 games of this season. And as I mentioned earlier, Sam Williams had a big night, 24 points for the Bulldogs, and I think he made all-tournament team there in Bloomfield, if I'm not mistaken, and he's had a great run this year. Great effort by him. 24 points for Sam Williams, Logan Woodard with 8 himself, Brevin Byers with 7, and Zach Swift with 5, and also Dawson Huckabee with 3. And big-time performance for the Gideon Bulldogs last night, securing that Tri-County Conference Championship. So look out for these Bulldogs. They do play in the Class 1 District 2 up in Bell City. So that's the more competitive district of the Class 1 districts here in Southeast Missouri. but they're going to be a handful in that district. There's about 4 or 5 teams in there that are going to be handfuls themselves. We'll talk more about that in our next segment when we get to the district tournaments in southeast Missouri that they were released the last few days, and we'll talk about where Gideon and Risco's place is in those district tournaments. But big game last night. The Tri-County Conference is always competitive, certainly in the championship game, going back a number of years. Risco's had a great run, and just coming up a bit short last night to a very good Gideon team. And we'll have the Gideon Bulldogs this week. We got a broadcast schedule coming up. They've got a game with Gideon and Campbell this Thursday night. Should be a great matchup. We'll be down there in Campbell for that game, so we'll see the Gideon Bulldogs on the broadcast this week coming up on YHC. So congratulations to Gideon, Coach McGowan, on a great run so far this year and securing that Tri-County Conference Championship last night. And other headlines, big matchup coming into Friday night. Really looking forward to that one since the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament. SEMO Conference matchup last night. Kennett and Dexter rematch that Christmas Tournament Championship. Dexter run away with that back in December for that championship. I think they won by 23 points. Kennett a little short-handed in that tournament. Certainly guard LaQuez Pulliam out for the tournament. Did not participate. Back in the mix, and he's had a great 2020. Certainly when the year turned, he's had a great run, and he's done a lot for the Kennett Indians on both sides of the ball, defense, offense. But Kennett having to come back, had to make it certainly dramatic last night. It was homecoming for the Kennett Indians, and they came out a little flat. Dexter came out great, hitting some three-point shots, and that's what makes Dexter really, really dangerous. If the three-point shot's falling, they can really play with anyone. We saw them play really well for about a quarter and a half with Sykeston when the shots were falling. And when the shots weren't falling, it was a different story. But, man, when the shots are falling for the Bearcats, they've got basically a 4-out, 1-in offense. You got 4 guards and Garrett Henson underneath. And they really move the ball around the perimeter, try to get that open shot. And then, if not, off the dribble, dump down to Henson. Pretty effective offense when you got 4 guards. They can handle the ball real well, shoot the ball from the outside. And they get off to a great start. But Kennett really finished strong. Certainly in that fourth quarter, they turned the intensity up on defense, forcing turnovers, and got the last few possessions, and they come up big. Ben McMullen hit the big 3 to put them up 1, 9 seconds to go, and nice defense on the other side, not allowing Dexter to get a shot off in regulation. The shot that Ryder Bowles did get off, it was about a half a second late, and great defense by the Indians in the last few seconds to prevent Dexter getting a shot to win the game, only up 1 going into that last possession. So Kennett finishing strong here. We've seen a great run out of the Kennett Indians. I think they're going to finish 500 in the conference. So in the SEMO Conference, which is pretty darn good. Certainly, there's quite a few teams hovering around 500. Even Sykeston's right around the 500 mark. So Kennett's having a strong season, beating some really good teams. Beating Sykeston, Poplar Bluff. Just had a good run. Even beat Notre Dame back in the SEMO Conference tournament at the beginning of the year. They did lose a close one to them in the regular season, but Kennett's had a great year. We've talked about them quite a bit over the last month, but great game always is between those two, and we'll have that to replay. You can watch it online anytime, but Kennett getting a nice victory to avenge that Bloomfield Christmas Tournament loss last night. And Cape Central defeating Sykeston, big rivalry game there going back the last 3 or 4 years. They've been the district tournament championship. Not only that, but it seems like the SEMO Conference has always come down to those two teams. Not quite as much this year, not quite the case, but Cape Central getting a big rivalry win on their home court last night over Sykeston, and but they're both looking behind Notre Dame. But either way, big rivalry game. You always look forward to that game each year. Cape Central, Dexter, and come down to the end there. Cape Central getting about, I think, a 12-point victory there over Sykeston last night. But that's always a key game to look for each year, Cape Central and Sykeston. And it lived up once again last night up in Cape. And Cape Central coming away with that victory. And going back to last year, Cape Central lost to Sykeston in the SEMO Conference tournament, then lost a real narrow victory on the regular season at Sykeston. Finally got over that hump in the district championship game. Probably the biggest game we've brought to you here in Southeast Missouri was in that championship game last year up at Cape Central in the Class 4 District 1 title game, where they finally got over that hump, defeated an undefeated Sykeston team, and a lot of players lost off those teams on both squads, but Cape Central returning just a bit better team, more players from last year, and that probably showed last night. But Cape Central getting a big rivalry win over Sykeston last night. And also Notre Dame defeating Poplar Bluff in the SEMO Conference last night, getting, I think it was a pretty decisive victory over Poplar Bluff. So Notre Dame is in the driver's seat for that SEMO Conference regular season championship. Only got one conference game remaining. They've got Dexter coming up in a couple weeks. Their only remaining SEMO Conference game at Dexter, which we'll bring live here on YHC. So Notre Dame looking really good to finish as the regular season champion. And if they win that, they win it outright. And I think they might even have it outright at this point, because I'm not sure who. I think Sykeston may have come in with only 2 losses. I think Charleston has 2 losses as well. So they win Dexter, they win it outright to win that SEMO Conference title, which is probably expected at this point. But Notre Dame was expected to be the team coming in this year. They just stumbled out of the gates early in the year, certainly in the SEMO Conference tournament, taking that first round loss to Kennett. But since then, they've put together a great year. A couple stumbles along the way against a few teams, but they're turning out to be the team we expected to come into this season. They returned the most from their team in the conference, and going to be certainly a force to be reckoned with as they host that Class 4 District 1 tournament this year up at Notre Dame, and they're likely going to be the number 1 seed in that tournament, as they'll probably seed that next week. So look out for the Notre Dame Bulldogs. Looks like they're going to be conference champs this year, and potentially making a district tournament championship run as well. So Notre Dame looking really good as probably the top team in Southeast Missouri. And let's go ahead and move on to some more highlights. We were down in Campbell Tuesday night. We were down in Campbell and had a nice game down there, East Prairie and Campbell. So let's take a look at some highlights from that broadcast Tuesday night. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Controls it. Fowler looking underneath. Nice little step through and taken away.
And we see here, Campbell getting off to both teams getting off to a pretty decent start here. Campbell trying to pretty much press the whole game. Was to see here, Jacob Vines getting a basket for the Camels here. Nice transition bucket for the Eagles. And a little pull-up jumper. Blake Fowler knocking that one down on the mid-range jumper. Nice steal. I think that was Camargo off the press and the trap, getting the steal and the bucket. Blake Fowler taking that one all the way off the right side. And nice ball movement. The Eagles getting a basket underneath. And towards the end of the first quarter here, Blake Fowler, a little elbow jumper falling away, gets it to fall. And Siebert knocking down a 3-point shot. Caden Siebert on the right side into the second quarter. And 3-pointer on the right side for the Eagles. And nice drive here up with the left hand with the scoop, basket, and the foul. And swung to the top of the key. Skylar Morrison knocking down that 3 at the top. And another 3-pointer up and good for the Camels. Into the second half here as a nice transition bucket for the Camels. And nice spin move by Fowler, getting it to go in the paint. Nice dish from Fowler looking underneath. And nice bucket there off the assist. Fowler in the transition, getting that one to go. And pretty much all Camels in this second half as they start to push out the lead over 20 points. And here a transition bucket up and in. And Campbell looked really good, certainly in the second half. And pushing out to a pretty decisive victory over East Prairie. Nice dump down and finish off the assist. So Campbell putting together a fine effort Tuesday night. We'll be seeing the Camels back in action. We take a look at our broadcast schedule here shortly. Gideon at Campbell Thursday night should be a good one. But Campbell looked really strong against East Prairie the other night. And Campbell, another force in that Class 2 District 1, which we'll talk about in our next segment in the district tournament. Campbell's one of the teams we were looking at coming into this season, looking really strong, have a chance to make a great run, and they're still one of those teams in the mix, as quite a few of those Class 2 District 1 teams might have a shot. So we'll be looking forward to seeing what the Camels do going forward. We'll have them on the broadcast once again Thursday night. And let's go ahead and move to some state rankings. Let's take a look at some state rankings that we've got the release this week. And they don't reflect last night's games, of course, but in Class 1, South Iron moved above Dora last week. Moved up to number 1 last week ahead of Dora. So South Iron followed by Dora, followed by Platte Valley, St. Elizabeth, Cairo, Mound City. The Delta Bobcats moved down a bit. I think they were at 6. They moved down to 7. They did take a loss last week in the Scott Mississippi Conference tournament, so that probably moved them down a bit. Princeton at number 8, followed by Golden City and Mercer. And in Class 2 for the boys, Greenwood, the defending Class 2 state champs, at number 1 as they've been all year. Hartville, a very good Hartville team, following at number 2, followed by Skyline, Crane, Oran. The Oran Eagles at number 5. New Franklin, Crest Ridge, Van Far, Milan, and East Buchanan. I think Moran was a little higher. I think they're at number 3. But they also took a loss in that Scott Mississippi Conference last week and moved down a bit, but still strong there in the top 5 in Class 2. In Class 3, Blair Oaks still on top at number 1, followed by Father Tolton. Charleston remaining at number 3. They've been at 3 pretty much the whole year, it seems like, except for maybe the first of the year. At number 4, Cardinal Ritter, followed by Trinity Catholic, Monroe City. Kennett remaining at number 7 as they have for probably 3 to 4 weeks. Palmyra, University Academy Charter, and new into the poll this week, Montgomery County. And in Class 4, Vashon remains at number 1 as they have all year. The defending Class 4, actually Class 3 state champions. Now into Class 4 this year, they remain at number 1. Raytown South, McClure, Country Day, Grandview, Cape Notre Dame at number 6. Followed by Bolivar, Nevada, Ladue, and Cape Central back into the top 10 this week at number 10. And taking a look at Class 5, Christian Brothers College Prep at number 1, followed by Melville, Francis Howell, DeSmet, Raymore Peculiar, Chaminade, Staley, Rockbridge, Park Hill South, and Liberty. And those are your state rankings for this week in the state of Missouri. And let's take a look at our broadcast schedule coming up. We only got a couple of weeks remaining in our broadcast season here on YHC, in the regular season anyways. Take a look at the games we got coming up this week. Tuesday night, the 6th or the 18th, we've got Poplar Bluff at Dexter, a CMO Conference matchup at the Bearcat Event Center in Dexter. Be looking forward to bringing that to you Tuesday night. Then Thursday night, as I mentioned, Gideon at Campbell. A couple of small schools there, and should be a great matchup. Gideon, one of the top Class 1 schools in the area, and Campbell, certainly one of the handful of schools that could certainly get out of Class 2 District 1 in a couple of weeks. And should be a great matchup there Thursday night. Gideon and Campbell. Look forward to that Thursday night here on YHC. Then the following week, that Tuesday, the 25th, we got Notre Dame at Dexter. Notre Dame looks to clinch the CMO Conference championship in the regular season outright with a win on the 25th against Dexter at the Bearcat Event Center. Then that Thursday, I doubt we'll do this game, Cape Central at Dexter. That's going to be a district tournament night, I believe, down. We'll be doing a district tournament that night there on the 27th. So the Cape Central and Dexter game, we likely will not broadcast that. We'll probably flex that to a district tournament game that evening. So those are the remaining regular season games on the schedule. So very exciting. Coming down to the end here. Conference championships pretty much wrapped up, other than the CMO Conference regular season title, which Notre Dame's pretty much got a hold on that. So coming down to district tournament play, which we're going to take another break, and we're going to come back with those district tournament seeds and brackets for classes 1 through 3 for the boys and girls tournaments. We'll come back with those coming up.
And most pre-owned vehicles come with a lifetime warranty at no cost to you. And what does that cover?
It covers the engine.
And it also covers the transmission.
And it covers the rear end. We're talking about a lifetime of protection, unlimited time, unlimited miles, at absolutely no cost to you for the entire time you own the vehicle.
So come see us at Baldwin Ford Lincoln Toyota, home of the lifetime warranty in Poplar Bluff.
If you or your loved one has disabilities that cause you to need a little help, Boot Hill Area Independent Living Services can provide the assistance you need. At Bales, we want you to have control of your life and assist you in thriving in an independent lifestyle. The Consumer Directed Services Program allows you, the consumer, to choose who assists you in conducting your daily activities. Bales serves Stoddard, Dunklin, New Madrid, and Pemiscot counties. Call or visit our office in Kennett to see how we can help you maintain your independence.
We enjoy telling stories about when we were growing up. And I enjoy the story about when my uncle let my cousin and I, we were 11 and 12 at the time, drive the John Deere tractor with a hand clutch to the house to get some water. When we got back, we couldn't get the clutch back. We ran over the front porch of the shop, a disc, several rolls of cotton before we got it stopped. My uncle wasn't very happy. Not a good day. Best price, best service. Glenn Sane, God bless our troops.
And welcome back. Now let's take a look at some district tournaments. Boys and girls tournaments getting underway next Saturday in Southeast Missouri. Let's take a look at Class 1 District 1 for the boys. Let's start off with the boys brackets. Class 1 District 1 will take place at Southland starting next Saturday. And that'll be top-seeded Cooter taking on 8th North Pemiscot. In the first round, 4th Couch versus 5th Southland. 2nd Clarkton versus 7th Koshkonong. And 3rd Naylor versus 6th Delta C7. Those are your seeds and the bracket for Class 1 District 1 at Southland. So that'll be the Class 1 District 1 there at the very southern district. And take a look at Class 1 District 2 just to the north. That'll take place at Bell City. And that'll be top-seeded Delta versus 8th Bell City. 4th Leopold versus 5th Risco. 2nd Oak Ridge versus 7th Scott County Central. 3rd Gideon versus 6th Richland. And this is going to be a competitive tournament here. I'll tell you, those first really top 5 seeds are going to be pretty competitive. Delta's had a great run. Oak Ridge as well. Oak Ridge actually defeated Delta earlier in the year, but Delta finished with a better season. Gideon, the 15-game stretch they're on, the run they're having, they could certainly give Oak Ridge a fight there in that semifinal. And Leopold's put together a fine year as well as Risco. Leopold and Risco, that's pretty much a toss-up there to advance on to that semifinal. And I would expect them to probably give Delta a game as well in that semifinal. So that's a district to look out for there at Bell City. Class 1 District 2, very competitive district this year. We've seen a little change in the Class 1 districts. We've seen, last year it was Delta, Risco, Scott County Central, and Gideon, and I believe Richland as well were in Class 1 District 1 last year. So quite a few teams moving up to the District 2, and quite a change in those district alignments this year in Class 1. So it should be an exciting tournament at Bell City starting next weekend. And moving up to Class 2 District 1, that takes place at Campbell. It's hosted by Campbell and Bernie with the top seed. They'll take on 8th-seeded Holcomb. 4th-seeded Campbell versus 5th Portageville. 2nd Hayti versus 7th South Pemiscot. 3rd Neelyville versus 6th Zenith Hornersville. Now this is the tournament, probably the most competitive tournament you might see across the whole state of Missouri right here. Bernie beating Hayti earlier in the week. We didn't mention that in the games earlier in the week, but Tuesday night Bernie defeated Hayti in overtime to win that game. And that pretty much decided that seed for the Class 2 District 1. Bernie getting the top seed, pretty much determined by that game with Hayti. And, I tell you, these first-round games are going to be tough. Campbell and Portageville. Portageville is a 5th seed, a little bit down. They lost quite a few players from last year, but a capable team, certainly. So that Campbell-Portageville game, I would expect that to be competitive. The Hayti-South Pemiscot game, that's a Boot Hill Conference game. South Pemiscot has been competitive all year. And I think they played Hayti pretty tough earlier in the year. So even that 2-7 game, which you think is just pretty much a walk-through game for a 2nd seed in a district tournament, not the case in this Class 2 District 1. That Hayti-South Pem game will be a competitive one, I would expect. And even the Neelyville-Zenith Hornersville, we already saw Zenith Hornersville advance on to the Boot Hill Conference Championship game as the last seed, as a 7th seed. They've played really great ball here in the last month, and Neelyville's they've come on strong here in the last month, playing probably their best ball of the season here of late. But St. Hornersville's got a great shot of, pulling off another upset in that first round. And, I tell you, this tournament is going to be competitive. It's always one of the most competitive. Usually it's about 4 teams deep. But this year, I tell you, it's, going probably to, especially that South Pemiscot, that's a scary team right there. South Pemiscot, they got great size underneath, really tough to rebound against. And they're always, man, they're so good on the offensive boards, just cleaning up the boards. They're a tough team to match up with. One of the toughest teams to match up with in Southeast Missouri, just because of their size as a small school. So that's the tournament to look out for there. We will be there on hand for that district tournament game, championship game there at Campbell there in a couple of weeks. So look out for this tournament. It's going to be a fun one to watch and follow here in Southeast Missouri. Class 2, District 3, we skipped 2 because that's more out west. Teams really out west of here in Southeast Missouri. So we went to District 3. It's just north teams here in the Southeast Missouri area. Top seeded Oran versus 8th Bloomfield. 4th Valley Catholic versus 5th Meadow Heights. 2nd St. Vincent versus 7th Puxico. 3rd Advance versus 6th Chaffee. And that'll take place at Bloomfield this year. That'll be a competitive tournament as well. Oran's had a great run this year, state ranked pretty much all year, and Advance has really played well here of late. Got a nice win over Delta earlier this week. Got a 3-point victory over Delta, 108-105. So a nice win for Advance, and the second seed St. Vincent don't play a whole lot of local teams, it seems like. So they're a team that could do something, but I wouldn't be surprised if Advance gets through there as well in that Class 2 District 3. But Oran's certainly the headline of that tournament. One of the best teams in the area, especially among the smaller schools in the area. So Class 2 District 3 at Bloomfield. Take a look at Class 3 District 1, another great tournament to look forward to, and that's going to take place at Kennett. Top seeded Charleston versus 8th Twin Rivers. 4th Caruthersville versus 5th Malden. 2nd, New Matter County Central versus 7th East Prairie. 3rd, Kennett versus 6th Doniphan. And I think it's going to come down to the top 3 teams, Charleston, New Matter, and Kennett. Kennett played Charleston tough a couple weeks back, 5-point loss. New Madrid and Kennett have played tough. New Matter defeated Kennett just after Christmas, early January, and Charleston's beat both New Matter and Kennett. But it is on Kennett's home floor. I don't know if that counts for anything, but should be a great tournament there in Kennett. And look forward to those top 3 teams making some noise, Charleston, New Matter, and Kennett. Now, that's semifinal potentially with New Matter and Kennett. Could be a great one there in Kennett for that Class 3 District 1. That's why that top seed's so important in Class 3 District 1, because that 2nd and 3rd semifinal, the 2 versus 3 is always competitive. We've seen it go even double overtime sometimes, and then have to turn right around and play a championship game sometimes the night after. So top seed, very important. Charleston's got that. Should be a great tournament in Kennett again this year. We intend to be down there for that championship game there in Kennett. And in Class 3 District 2, that'll be at Fredericktown, and Scott City's got the top seed taking on 8th Woodland. 4th Saxony Lutheran versus 5th Clearwater. 2nd Kelly versus 7th West County. And 3rd Arcadia Valley versus 6th Fredericktown. And let's move on to the girls' ranks. Class 1 District 1 at Southland. Koshkanon with the top seed and a bye. They will play the winner of Naylor and Couch in the championship game. They're in the 2nd and 3rd seeds. And in Class 1 District 2, that'll be at Bell City. Top seed Scott County Central will play the winner of the semifinal 2nd seeded Delta versus 3rd Oak Ridge. And in Class 2 District 1 at Campbell, Neelyville with the top seed. Get a first round bye. Then the other first round games are 4th Campbell versus 5th seed Hornersville. 2nd Haytime versus 7th South Pemiscot. 3rd Holcomb versus 6th Portageville. So Neelyville looking for another district championship, and that'll be taking place at Campbell in Class 2 District 1. Class 2 District 3 at Bloomfield. Top seeded Oran versus 8th Puxico. 4th Advance versus 5th Chaffee. 2nd Valley Catholic versus 7th Bloomfield. 3rd St. Vincent versus 6th Meadow Heights. And in Class 3 District 1 at Kennett, New Matter looking for another district championship in Class 3 District 1. They take on 8th Charleston in the first round. 4th Twin Rivers versus 5th Malden. 2nd Donovan versus 7th East Prairie. 3rd Kennett versus 6th Caruthersville. And that should be a competitive one there in Class 3 District 1. And in Class 3 District 2 at Fredericktown, Saxony Lutheran with the top seed taking on 8th Clearwater. 4th Kelly versus 5th Fredericktown. 2nd West County versus 7th Scott City. 3rd Arcadia Valley versus 6th Woodland. And those are your Class 3 District 2 matchups there in Fredericktown. So those are the matchups in district tournament play. We are set for district tournaments in a couple of weeks. Getting underway, going to be very exciting. And we will be broadcasting some of those district tournaments. We don't have them nailed down just yet, but I believe the Class 2 District 1 and the Class 3 District 1 games are on the same night, Friday night. And they will do a simulcast on that. One of those games will be live here on YHC. Probably at this point the Class 2 District 1 game, and then it'll be available online as well. And then the Class 3 District 1 game you can watch online on our website as well. So that's what we're looking at right now. Probably Class 2 District 1, Class 3 District 1 on Friday, and potentially, if we can work it out, Class 1 District 1 down in Southland. That's what we'll likely do at this point. We'll see if those arrangements can be made. So we'll be bringing some of those games to you, as well as potential sectional and quarterfinal games going forward. And of course, Class 4 and Class 5 haven't seeded theirs yet. They follow the following week. They'll probably seed their tournaments this coming week. So a very exciting time of the year, and we got some games left to go here on YHC, and even more in late February and early March into state tournament play here in Southeast Missouri. So looking forward to it all. Hopefully you'll join us along the way right here on YHC, and we'll still be here on Saturday mornings bringing the Sports Roundtable and giving you highlights of all the games that we've done, as well as all the late breaking and informative stuff going on in Southeast Missouri. So that's going to wrap up our show for today. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Getting a little later start today, just a late night turning into an early morning, and a lot of prep for this morning. So look forward to seeing you next time, and until then, I'm Tyler Wagner. Have yourself a great weekend, and next week. Take care, everyone.